Hi guys, welcome back to Crime Time with Jess. I just did a live stream. I went back and watched it and it was so blurry. We have really bad Wi-Fi here. Okay, so there was a lot of parts that were cutting out and this and that. So I thought I would try something different, which is use live stream and use my phone. I've never done it this way before. This is a first for me. So any of you that come in, I would love to know if the sound is better, if you can hear me, if it's breaking up a lot. I kind of want to know that if I look blurry to you. Because hi, whoever just joined. But I was just saying that I just did a live stream and I rewatched it and it was so blurry and the audio was so bad. And it's because we have really bad Wi-Fi here. So I thought I would try on my phone. um, Maybe that'll be better. I'm not quite sure if you can see me better, hear me better, that sort of thing. If you can, please say yes, you can. I can't see the comments. Oh, yes, I can. Is it? Okay, good. Thank you. I I don't know. Oh, it sounds better. Thank God, Colleen. Because I watched that live stream, I couldn't even see myself. I was like looking, I turned my brightness up on my phone. I was like, what the heck? I'm kind of gonna redo this live stream, and I might delete the last one because it was so bad quality. But I guess we'll just hop right back into it. And I'm probably gonna say different things because I have a million thoughts about the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. But I'll just start it out by saying that she is a abuse victim that turned into an accomplice that turned into a perpetrator. So this case conjures up so many feelings for people, bad feelings, tons and tons of bad feelings. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. I totally get people being angry that she should be back in jail. Um, I, but what I was saying in my last stream was that I think that people always kind of need like a hero and a villain in a story. And unfortunately, in this case, there is no hero. Nicholas Godejohn is not the guy that you should be standing behind pumping your fist and hoping for a new trial. Um, Again, I've never done StreamYard on my phone, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to show the interrogation video, like the parts of it that I showed in the last stream. But he clearly knows right from wrong. Despite his low IQ and despite his autism, he knew this was wrong. And he did it anyway. And you have to accept that that is true. Uh, More than one thing can be true at the same time, right? We all know that. And it can be very true that Gypsy manipulated the heck out of him. She did, in my opinion. And also true that he knowingly committed a murder, and was conscious and smart enough to know that it was wrong. Um, Even in his interrogation video, he shows remorse and says that he feels very guilty. Well, you don't feel guilty about things that you don't think are wrong. So that should just kind of tell you that he did know what he was doing. He did. And unfortunately, you know, he talked about in the interrogation video worshiping Gypsy. So there was, probably a bit of an obsession there. And he committed a horrific crime. In my opinion, it's not his sentence that was wrong. It was Gypsy's sentence that was wrong. So people have all of this hate towards Gypsy, rightfully so. Rightfully so. I get why. Um, but they transfer, they turn that hate into trying to promote another person, which is Nick. If Gypsy is the villain, then we need the hero, and the hero we're going to stand behind is Nick. And to me, that is very illogical thinking. Um, you cannot overlook the fact or use excuses that he had autism or low IQ. Those are just not excuses to commit a heinous murder, stabbing, no less, very personal, very up close uh, type of murder. You can't say, oh, this person had autism, so we should be lighter on them, or they're not very smart, so we shouldn't be that harsh on them. There are so many people in jail with low IQs that do some not so smart things. It's kind of why they're there. So is it unfortunate? Yes, but it doesn't mean that they get a free pass to walk around society or have better treatment, because there's also tons of people in this world that aren't the smartest, and they don't commit crimes like this. So I think that argument that well, he was manipulated, being manipulated is not a crime. It's immoral. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't manipulate people, but it's not a crime. And you can manipulate someone into anything. If they do it, they are the ones that are going to receive the punishment. You know, Gypsy, in my opinion, should not be out in the world having gender reveal parties. I think that's just mind blowing. I think she absolutely should have served the same exact sentence as Nick. I think that is what is fair. These two people did conspire together. It was extremely premeditated. In the last live stream I talked about, you know, there are some people that believe that Dee Dee was already dead, that Nick didn't really kill her, that Gypsy and Dan potentially killed her, and then Nick came afterwards and was stabbing an already dead body. But in his interrogation video, he talks about Dee Dee speaking to him, asking him, "Who are you?" Calling for help, and then yelling Gypsy's name 3 times. And he even demonstrates her voice. He does an imitation of it, of how she sounded to him. He talks about a slice to the back of Dee Dee's neck, and they are part of the crime scene photos that have been released. A lot of people that are newer to this case don't realize that those crime scene photos were released a long time ago, but they've resurfaced because Gypsy's been released and there's a renewed interest in the case. Uh, I revisited them, and they're horrific. But two pictures really stood out to me. One was the slice to the back of her neck, because Dee Dee was a heavy set woman. So she had a lot of fat in the back of her neck. And the people that, took the crime scene photos, they had to actually lift, the fat from her neck and take a picture of this wound. And it's extremely deep. It's an extremely disturbing picture. It took a lot of force to do something like that. And Nicholas talks about that slice. Now, unless he committed it himself, how would he know about it? Other than going into her room and examining her body afterwards and lifting up the back of her neck fat and looking at it, how else would he know about that slice? He did that. He inflicted that slice. And admittedly, 4 other very deep stab wounds. One that he believed went into her lungs. And he even demonstrates how he had to yank the knife up because it was so deep in her. The investigator asked him after the slice to the neck, was there blood? And he said yes. So for the people that believe that Gypsy, and again, Dan as her accomplice, killed Dee Dee prior to Nick getting there, like I said in the last live stream, you would also have to believe that Nick made all of that up. That all of that about Dee Dee talking to him, he just made it up and lied about it. That Dee Dee never spoke a word to him because dead women don't talk. Kind of like in the Daybell case, with Tammy rolling off the bed. Well, dead people don't roll, they don't move. That's kind of the point of being dead. So, I do believe that Nick was telling the truth. Um, there was one part in the last stream that I showed where he said, it was like going through his head. And he goes, I have a question, other than being honorable, like what does the truth, like, what do I get out of that? So he's basically saying, yeah, well, other than me telling you guys everything that happened, which he did, what else can I get out of that? Nothing. You're getting a life sentence with no possibility of parole because there is only one true victim in this case, and that is Dee Dee Blanchard. Gypsy was a victim as a child, but Dee Dee Blanchard is the one no longer breathing. She was the one that experienced a horrific death, stabbed to death in her own bed in her own house. Nicholas Godejohn didn't experience any abuse from Dee Dee ever. He stabbed her to death. Gypsy experienced childhood abuse from her as far as being put in a wheelchair and having her head shaved. I have an 8-year-old daughter. If I put her in a wheelchair and shaved her head, that is child abuse. I would be abusing her. So for people saying, well, there was no abuse, yes, there was. Yes, there was. I don't believe to the extent that Gypsy claims, but there are pictures of her in this wheelchair, and we all know that she can walk. So clearly, clear sign of child abuse. I wish people would use more discernment with this case. I also had an issue with other creators, and this isn't a hit piece on them. It's just two other creators in particular that really cover this every single day and come out with something fantastical every single day about, Gypsy's ongoings. Flawless Nina and Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. Both of these women are not true crime creators. Okay. Flawless Nina is, I guess, a beauty influencer. Not really sure how she got onto the Gypsy Rose thing, but somehow she's there. And Katie Joy is more of a reaction, kind of gossipy channel. She usually covers the Duggars and Sister Wives and things like that. So neither one of these women are in the true crime genre, so to speak. I mean, I guess they kind of are now. But when I see both of them, telling their audiences that, oh, somebody looked up Gypsy stuff, it might be the FBI. There might be new charges coming, stuff like that. What in the world are you talking about? Gypsy Rose, in my opinion, got a horrendous plea bargain. Terrible, terrible plea bargain. Okay. To get 10 years for orchestrating the murder of your mother is horrendous. And then she serves 8 of it. She's got 10, 11 months of probation or parole to go. So really, the case is almost done. It's pretty much over in the court's eyes. Once that parole is done, it's done. And I've seen Katie Joy say, that she kind of talks about like the FBI, picking up some charges potentially. I could just facepalm to stuff like that, honestly. Um, it is preposterous to think that Gypsy Rose Blanchard is even anywhere near the FBI's, like, on their radar. This girl is not on their radar. Okay. They have much bigger fish to fry. They would have to, she can never be recharged for her mother's murder, clearly. But they would have to find some other crime that she committed, and it would be a lesser crime, and then go after her for that. Is that going to happen? Slim to none, in my opinion. Slim to none that is going to happen. So it's just, people are going to have to accept that this is what happens. I do think it's a travesty of justice. I do think it's a miscarriage of justice. But this online frenzy that is happening, I find it funny that people keep saying she should be offline. You should get offline. Da 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 da. Why are people treating her like a celebrity? And then you have these creators that literally cover her every single day. They're 1000% making money off of this. Say she shouldn't be making money off this. Well, you're making money off her making money off this, and who's to blame for all of this watching of her and her being a celebrity and popular? It's us. It's us, guys. Hi. Look, consider me your mirror, because it's us. Us watching every little thing, watching all of these live streams, and they're all speculation. She's not been back to jail. She's not, nothing. But every day there are new live streams about this sort of stuff, and people are interested in it, and they also bitch and complain that she's being watched. Well, she's being watched by us, so if you want it to stop watching it. I just had to get that out, because I was watching it and I was thinking, yeah, I don't know why she's getting so much attention. And I think to myself, I'm giving this attention. I'm giving it attention right now. But it's more, to me, the insane hatred frenzy that is kind of going with this case. Just good grief. Um, the Son of Sam laws do not apply to Gypsy. So as much as you're going to see about that, and I've seen Katie Joy going on and on about it, they don't apply to her. She lives in Louisiana. They do not have that there. Okay. I know that the crimes were committed in Missouri, but there's nothing that she's going to be put back in jail for this. I saw Katie Joy say that Dee Dee's sisters were wanting to sue Gypsy for making money off of this case. And, I was thinking, like, how do you know that? Have you talked to them? Like, how do you know this? And then several days later, Katie Joy's on a live stream on TikTok, and one of Dee Dee's sisters does come on there and says that no, they didn't have any plans on suing her. So the misinformation kind of really irks me. Hey, Justice Jane. Hi, Dave Blake. Miscarriage? Nice. CNN and Fox News. I don't know what that means. But yeah. What my oh my. Hi. Glad to see you back. I hope you can see me better now and hear me better. So what my oh my is saying, they scream about the money all the time. I had it the other day, and I wrote in their comments to stop it because they was making money off her case, piggybacking. Exactly. And if you're angry at the money that Gypsy's making, you're really going to have to take it up with the people on TikTok that are, throwing money at her. People spend money however they want. And who am I to tell them not to? I mean, I think it's crazy. I wouldn't do it. For some reason they are, but you're going to have to take it up with them. I think Rod Blanchard, he went live on TikTok and he kind of gave the public a really hard truth. And people took it as, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. Look, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. But what he said was, she has a story and Lifetime wants to pay for it. That's just facts. Who watches this show? Us. Lifetime wouldn't be doing this show if it didn't make them money. They're not going to keep doing something that's not monetarily beneficial to them. And the only way it's beneficial monetarily to them is if we watch. So if you want to know what the problem with Gypsy Rose being all around, we're all going to have to look in the mirror. Okay. So Dave Blake is saying, LOL, you said who's to blame? I was joking, except Fox News and CNN. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's us. So you got to think about that. But I mean, intake whatever content you want. I would just implore people more to not get so incited with hatred that you start doing what some people are doing, which is harassing the hell out of her parole officer. This man has a job to do. Overseeing Gypsy is one of them. She is not his only client, clearly. But people are calling him constantly and complaining about things that are happening online. If I was her parole officer, I would literally hang up the phone right on you and block your number. And I might call you back and tell you that if you call me again with something that was said online, I'm going to look into something to do with you. Okay? Because you are harassing a man, number one, trying to do his job. Number two, nobody cares what is said or posted online unless it's something insane. If Gypsy comes out and says, hey, I think I want to take Christy out, by all means, call the police. But just because you don't like what she says or what she's doing, it is not a reason to blow up Parole's phone number. That is just absurd. And you're abusing the system by doing stuff like that. Her parole officer, if this is his job, I'm sure he'll make the determination. If she does something and needs to go back, let him do his job. Okay. So what my oh my is saying, there are other people on here, YouTube, that has committed the crime she has done. But they are not saying, hey guys, I did this crime, because people be all over them. Well, that's interesting. I don't know who those people are. And what my oh my is saying, it is starting to get on the edge of bullying, and Fancy sitting there acting like she's all that and then some. She's unhinged. I watched one thing of Fancy. It must not have been one of her better live streams, because okay, Dave, I'm probably not going to do that because I have other things to do. But Dave is giving you guys permission to harass the hell out of his parole officer. Please don't, because I know Dave's trying to get back at his parole officer. Okay. So where was I at here? Yeah, I watched one of Fancy's, and she was screaming and yelling and stuff, and I made it through a couple of minutes of it. Not long. So I did see her and Rod Blanchard's exchange on TikTok. I have to say, I mean, she really did kind of stick some facts in there. Her tone was pretty condescending. I had a little empathy for Rod, because I think he was completely caught off guard and doesn't strike me as the type of guy that likes to argue or carry on like that. So I think he just seemed a little dumbstruck to me. It wasn't the nicest thing to listen to, honestly. Nikki is saying, lock her up. Well, she was locked up, Nikki. Unfortunately, they screwed up that sentence terribly. She was locked up, and now she's out on parole. And I do look for Gypsy to reoffend. It's just my opinion. I think her impulsivity, um, her just overall behaviors, I think she's got to do something that is going to land her back in jail. I don't think it will be murder. I don't think she wants to spend the rest of her life in jail. So I don't think she's going to do that again, but I think, she's going to commit some type of petty crime, some type of fraud crime, some type of something like that. That's just my guess. But I see her doing something, stealing or something, get locked up, stealing a candy bar. I could just see her reoffending in some way. But what am I saying? Dave can't do it. Dave can't do it. It's against YouTube rules to incite things like that. Plus, your parole officer is just doing his job. Exactly, Dave. If you were being a good boy, you wouldn't have a parole officer, okay? We're not going to harass that man. I know I was joking, though. So, Dave is saying, for real, though, what are people doing with their lives that they take time out of their daily BS that they call a stranger's PM? I agree. And try to tattle on her. Get a life, mind your business. I agree. I don't like the harassment of the parole officer. I don't like the petty, oh my God, this was said online. I got to call somebody's PO. Honestly, get a life. I agree with that statement. Justice Jane says, is she really pregnant or rumored? I think she's actually pregnant, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately for the baby because my hopes for Gypsy doing the right thing are low, even though I hope that I'm very wrong for the child. But yeah, I think she's definitely pregnant. And mainly because I don't think that Mia Blanchard, I like Mia. I like Mia a lot, actually. Um, but I don't think Mia would be participating or throwing her a gender reveal if she wasn't for sure that she was pregnant. So I think she is. Nikki King is saying retrial. Uh, a retrial for Gypsy, Nikki, because that cannot happen in this country. We have laws. It's called double jeopardy. Once somebody, Gypsy, pled guilty to it, she took a plea bargain. There will never, ever be a retrial or a trial ever for the murder of her mother with Gypsy. It will never happen. So, yeah, David Blake saying, poor kid. I totally agree, dude. I honestly hope that Gypsy and Ken, let's not leave him and his impulsivity. We don't talk about Ken's impulsivity really at all, but he's just as impulsive. I mean, what kind of guy, gets engaged to a woman in prison, breaks up with her, and then years later, after she gets out, pops back into her life and gets her pregnant like the first time he links up with her? Talk about being impulsive. And then moves to New Orleans, leaves Texas, moves to New Orleans, is without a job, even though on a live stream, I think on Sir Morbid's live stream, he did say he was employed. Who knows if he is or not? I don't know. He says he is. But that's a lot of impulsive. So you have two very impulsive people having a child. I hope that they do the right thing and do good, because this child is going to need them too, basically. Colleen, there's a movie, Double Jeopardy. Oh, okay. Dave, or wait, I missed some comments here. What? My oh my, pregnant. Hopefully it works out. If not, one of them is going to be raising it. Yeah, I keep just getting this feeling that Christy and Rod are going to end up with that baby. I I don't know if you guys watched Life After Lockup, but Rod literally tells Ken, points at Gypsy and says she wants a baby. Do not get her pregnant. I do not want to raise another child. And I feel like those are like famous last words. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up with the baby. Um, I don't know. It's a travesty. I keep using that word, but it is a travesty. Okie Bree, she done her time. People should just let her try to live her life the best she knows how. Now, Ken, that guy's a doozy. Um, yeah, I honestly think they're both a doozy. I mean, you know, I didn't really talk too much about Ryan Anderson, the live stream I just did a couple hours ago. But Jesus. I mean, when I seen him cry on that last episode, those were real tears, boy. You could tell that man was hurting for certain. And I felt terrible for him. But as time goes on and I continue to see him on live streams on TikTok defending Gypsy, he still talks to her. He's still in contact with her, still defending her and all of that. My empathy just kind of goes right out the window. Because I'm like, dude, come on. She left you and within 2 days was getting matching tattoos with the guy that you feared she would go to. Created hell in your life. Now she's pregnant, supposedly with a boyfriend's child, and you're still defending her in the hopes that somehow she'll come back to you. Um, I can only have so much empathy for that. So, let's see. Nikki King is saying she pled guilty because she knew the real truth would come out. Probably. And I do believe that Nicholas Godejohn was offered a plea as well. He did not take it. Did not take it. Gypsy did take it. What am I? Jess, you're forgetting one thing. Ken was in a 5-year relationship before Gypsy Rose. Yeah, impulsive. He just, both of them did the exact same thing. Just dump their significant others off like garbage. And, the thing in the last episode at the end when Ryan was crying and he said, through like broken words because he's crying and he goes, did I mean anything? Like, did I mean anything? And, sadly, I think the answer is no. You were a place to parole to, and so many people call this out, but it's true. Gypsy herself says, well, I don't think my family really understands that I have to be paroled to family. So when she was just talking about her family not wanting her to marry Ryan because they did not, Christy was heavily against it. And this is all from the interviews of the prison confessions. Everybody thinks that Life After Lockup is like the first season of Gypsy's lifetime saga. It's not. Gypsy Rose Prison Confessions is the first. And the very last episode of that actually is called I Do or Do I? Because she tells Ryan that that she talked to Ken just like 2 weeks before she gets married. She talked about hoping that Ken would say not to get married and that, they could work it out 2 weeks before she's released. Okay. So her and Ryan get in this massive fight. He has always been aware that Ken has always been in the background. And I think that he was just hoping that Gypsy would choose him. And she did for all the wrong reasons. She chose him to use him, to parole to his house because she did not want to live with her parents. She brings it up a lot and she says, oh, I'm 32 or 33 years old now and I still live at home. And you can tell it's an embarrassment to her. There's something very embarrassing to that. And I don't think she wanted to parole to their house. So Ryan, being stable, being a teacher, he looked good on paper. And, I think she was like, yeah, let's do it. And so she did. But you see that lasted 60 days because on Lifetime released this uncut footage after the show was already over. They released this uncut footage, and it's Gypsy talking to Ken. And she's like, yeah, she's like, Ryan called me and said that, he found out that we were talking to each other at the end of February and he called me a CUNT. And she goes, ooh, and Ken's like, ooh. And they both give this impression like, ooh, he figured it out, he sees us for what we really did. So literally 60 days it lasted with her being out of jail. And she goes right to the guy that she was obsessed with. And I think the four guys that were, Gypsy's sexual partners, you could put them in two groups. There's Dan and Ken, the ones that those two she was insanely obsessed with. Dan is the 35-year-old guy that she met at the conventions that her mother used to take her to, Star Wars conventions. And by his roommate's accounts, she was completely obsessed with Dan. She would show up at his apartment walking, okay, out of her wheelchair. They knew she could walk, but she would show up at his apartment. She really wanted to be with him. And then the other group is the Ryan and Nick group. The ones that she manipulated, the ones that she did not love, the ones that she's definitely not obsessed with. And they were just an ends to a means for her. So I thought it was kind of funny to see Gypsy behaving towards Ken the way Ryan behaved towards Gypsy. Because as obsessed with Ken as Gypsy is, Ryan is just as obsessed with Gypsy. So the role reversal, I just noted that, observed it. What am I? She said she used him and that was it for a pit stop. Absolutely. Yep. Um, oh, you're asking. Okay, Brie. Yes, he was in a long-term relationship. And he just dumped his girlfriend and off to Gypsy he went. So what Maya is saying, wonder if anything happens to her and Ken. If Gypsy Rose will cry and crawl back to Ryan. Please, Ryan, please. I love you, Ryan. Please take me back. Oh, I don't doubt it. I do not doubt that for 2 seconds. And I think it's exactly why she's keeping him on the hook. They are still communicating with one another. Again, he's still defending her. He says she's going to be a great mother. He doesn't know that, but he's just pumping her right on up. And I think that, yeah, if something happens with her and Ken, Ryan will be the safe haven again. He'll be the soft landing spot because there's nothing that he won't do for Gypsy. And I think he's shown that. I don't know too many men that are going to defend and still be in love with someone that runs off with a boyfriend and gets pregnant and publicly humiliates you in the worst way. But I do think Ryan borders on obsession with Gypsy, and I think he would take her back at a heartbeat. And I think he would take that baby on full force. I truly believe that, which is awfully sad. It really is. When I seen him on a live stream on TikTok saying, you guys are crazy if you think that Gypsy didn't love me. The love wasn't a problem between us. Yes, it was. Yes, it was, Ryan. I was just wanted to tap my phone screen, tap him in the head through my phone screen. Tap, tap, wake up. Love was definitely the problem. She did not love you. And I think that's really harsh to say it that way, but it's just a fact. And I feel like, Ryan's in this delusional lands where he was so snowballed by Gypsy that he truly believes that she loves him. And her actions speak the exact opposite. She did not love you. She didn't. She used you. And he still says, I don't believe that. I don't believe that she used me. I was not used, blah, blah, blah. Yes, sir, you were. And I think, you know, again, my empathy for Ryan wanes. Um, but I've read once that it takes the average human about 12 to 18 months to fully get over a long-term relationship. So I think he's going to have to go through this denial, and it's kind of like a death. A divorce is kind of like a death. And they did have a weird, unconventional marriage because most of their marriage was her behind bars, but married nonetheless. And I think that Ryan took this very seriously. So he's in that grieving process. And, you know, again, divorce is kind of like a death. And the first stage of it is denial. And he is in a lot of denial. And it's really annoying to watch. And sometimes I just skip his lives because I can't deal with the delusion. Because I'm standing on the outside, and it's a lot easier standing outside of the forest and commenting on it than being inside of it. And he's inside of it. So, oh, hi. Thank you, Elizabeth, for becoming a new member. Welcome. Good to have you. Let's see what other comments we have. Nikki King is saying the thing that really bothers me with Gypsy is she should fly under the radar. Get on with life without wanting to be an influencer. You know what, Nikki? I agree with you. I think for her personally, it would be a lot better for her. I think, she would do a lot better in life. Um, Constant hate. If you're a YouTube creator or anything like that, you know that hate comes with the territory. People are just gonna not like you sometimes, and you have to have a very thick skin for it. It's gotten the better of me at points, but I think you know, it's like become her whole life, you know. And being online and looking at a bunch of hateful comments about yourself, think about how many celebrities have talked about this, or famous people have talked about this, that they don't even read the comments. They stay away from it because it's just simply not good for their mental health. So I do think I agree with you. But again, I'll go back to my point that I was saying earlier in this live stream, and that is really that we are the ones giving this attention. If we stopped in taking content about her, if we stopped watching, it would go away. She would have to go away because you need an audience to do what she's doing. Um, what am I? Oh, you're replying to other people. They are throw. Cloud9 is saying I used to feel sorry for Ryan, not anymore. I heard Gypsy was his first. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I do know that I watched one of Ryan's live streams. He did address that. He did say, Gypsy is not my first. He talked about dating a woman that had a child. He said he was in this child's life from the age of 5, I believe, to the age of 8. So that's a 3-year relationship. And then he mentioned another relationship. So who's to say? Um, he didn't appear to be lying, but you never know. I don't think he was lying. I just think that he's enamored with Gypsy. Um, the things that he has cited of liking about her is that he likes her height. She's extremely short. She's like 4'8". Her voice is very childlike. The things he likes about her are a little weird, I will say. Um, but I really think, hi y'all, sorry I'm late. No, you're fine. So Gypsy Rose's temper, what am I is saying? Gypsy Rose's temper is a hairline trigger. Ryan trying to explain to her about getting a puppy and what you'd have to do for one. Gypsy Rose got pissed off and stomped off, then got snappy with Ryan. Yeah, I saw that. And, you know, I really think, because again, we all know that two things can be true at one time. at the same time. Gypsy was abused by her mother and also incredibly spoiled. You know, in Texas to Nicholas Godejohn, she says, my closet's full of designer clothes with tags still on them. Think about, I mean, she's met multiple celebrities. She's gotten 3 make, wishes. You're only supposed to get 1. She got 3. Um, so I think Gypsy is not used to being told no. And again, I'll go back to what I think was the true motive for her killing her mother. And it was because her mother told her no to dating people. No, you're not going to do that. And I think that was truly her motive. I don't think it had anything to do with the medical abuse. Elizabeth is saying Gypsy doesn't have the skin for, oh, there's a truck going by. Hang on a second. Okay. So Elizabeth is saying Gypsy doesn't have the skin for it. She needs to focus on healing. I cut myself off from it personally while healing myself. Yeah. Honestly, 2022 or 2023, worst year of my life. And I stayed off social media. I didn't live stream. I think I live streamed 2 or 3 times. It was bad because my life was in an uproar. And it was just best I stayed off of social media. I didn't want more negativity in my life than was already happening. So I agree, Elizabeth. What my oh my. Gypsy Rose told Ryan not to talk to her like she was stupid. And he didn't even say anything to her like that. She was really, really bad. Yeah. I mean, he was kind of saying, like, hey, honey, you're going to have to walk the dog every day and you're going to have to do these kinds of things. And he was right. I mean, she abandoned the dog the second that, Ken was ready to come into town. She rolled right on by Pixie. Watching her leave Pixie in the show, Life After Lockup, was so sad. And there's little Pix, running after her. And I just thought, you're such a terrible person. I mean, you got into this major argument, I know how to take care of dogs and blah, blah, blah. And that's the first thing you leave behind. Oh, she liked Ryan better. How? Ryan went to work every day. You were home. How does the dog like him better? You spent the most time with her. I mean, I thought that was really awful. Elizabeth, Ryan's last live pissed me off. Me too, girl. Me too. I really had to kind of just zip them out because I was like, guy, what are you talking about? He just, I almost think that him telling everyone, like, I still talk to her or do I not? We know you still talk to her, Ryan, because you're saying things that you couldn't possibly know if you didn't talk to her. And I think he thinks it's like a flex to Ken. Like, oh, look, Ken, she's still talking to me too. It is not a flex. Being with Gypsy Rose Blanchard is not a flex. I don't really know what either one of them are thinking. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of Twilight Zone-ish that we're watching these 2 men like fight over her, and it's just wild. It really is wild. I don't know what she does. God knows what she does. What my oh my is saying, Ryan ruined it for me on the red carpet. He told people Gypsy Rose was the one that was manipulated. Yeah, I saw that. Not the other way around, meaning Nicholas. Pissed me off. Don't like him now. I think the thing that's more frustrating for me with Ryan is that Gypsy probably most likely told him that. But the information is there. He just doesn't want to see it. And again, it's part of putting the blinders on and being in denial. And that's where he wants to be right now. And is it very annoying to watch? Yes. Again, I want to tap, tap, tap the screen. Wake up, sir. Hello. So Elizabeth is saying social media, I mean, for me. Yeah. Yeah, me exactly. What my oh my says, she snapped like a bipolar person. I know one personally. He'll crawl up your butt for no reason. Yeah, yes. Elizabeth, he definitely thinks it's a flex, and I don't see it either. It's a train wreck. How is it a flex? Honestly, you married a murderer in jail. Like, sir, excuse me. I listen, I understand that Ryan is extremely overweight, okay, which is not attractive to a lot of people, okay? So I imagine that his dating pool is a little smaller than, let's say, Wade Wilson. And if you watch anything with Wade Wilson, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, look it up. You'll be enamored for days probably. I'm gonna start covering him next, by the way, because I think it's even crazier than Gypsy's stuff, which I don't even know how you do that, but he's managed somehow to do that. But either way, what my oh my, just technically Gypsy Rose and Nicholas didn't break up. They got arrested. Then the big house. Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I mean, by law, they can't have any contact. So might as well say you're broken up because you can never talk to each other again or, anything like that. Elizabeth is saying she makes me so mad. She triggers me. I couldn't watch that show. I went to bed and cried. I was triggered. Girl, like I know. And this is what I think is, I've been so wrapped up in cases before that it's had like an emotional toll on me. Dylan Rounds was definitely that one of those cases for me, probably one of the top cases for me. But I find like sometimes you really do have to just step away. You just gotta, nope, I'm not going to intake this content today because it just makes you so angry. But at the same time, you have to use a little discernment with who is giving you this information, and how true it is or not. Because I think some of these creators are doing a very good job of inciting just straight hate and anger with people. And it's not healthy. It is really not healthy. It's not mentally healthy, to get that worked up because we can't change it. We really can't. I'm sure if most of us could, we would absolutely say Gypsy needs to be in jail for the rest of her life. I think most people would say that, but we can't. It's over. It's just done. If you want to keep watching the saga of her life, she's probably going to keep pissing you off. I'm almost certain of it. And another thing I wanted to talk about was her saying, and I feel like she's very much going to eat these words, that she was not going to put her child out into the public. I don't think so. We're already watching the pregnancy journey. Why would she stop at the birth? It brings in money. Watch her TikTok. Watch her TikTok lives. People literally just throw money at her. They just toss it right at her. I don't know how these people have so much disposable income, but apparently they do. So they just do this constantly. And it's just not logical to think that she is really just going to stop there, that her child is never going to be seen. I will say this. I was talking to someone about this, and I said, Gypsy is used to being the star of the show. She was the star of the show for her mother's life. She was the star of the show when she went to jail. She's the star of the show now. Um, that the baby is going, that baby's innocent. So people are going to have no judgments against that child. And the baby's going to get a lot of attention. And I do think that Gypsy's immaturity is going to shine real bright with that because I don't think she is going to deal with that well. And I think the only way that she's going to take that child off of social media or out of the news or whatever, going on talk shows and showing the baby or whatever she's going to do. I think the only reason she would do it is because the baby would be getting more attention than her. That is just my opinion. So facing reality is saying so much money. Yeah, yep, she definitely is. Um, again, I think it's crazy immoral for this to be happening, especially when there's so many people in this country that need help, genuinely need help. And people are just throwing money at a murder. It's just kind of mind-boggling. But you're gonna have to take it up with those people that are throwing the money at her. I don't know what's wrong with them. I have no idea, but they are doing this. So Elizabeth is saying they want her to say that because it makes her look more responsible. Everything you just said, amen. Amen, girl. What my oh my, Jess, yes, on information. Once said a neighbor told them they heard Christy and Rod fighting one night. I'm like a liar. Who's going to have a chair over to their house and watch them for gossip noisy? People need to leave the baby out of videos. Some of them have gone to it already. Oh, um, I would not show her child on my channel. I would not. That baby needs to not be in any spotlight whatsoever. It is literally going to be history repeating itself. Just like Dee Dee exploited Gypsy, if Gypsy puts this child in the public spotlight, she is going to be doing the same exact thing. Same thing. And God forbid this child has any medical issues. I don't think I'm gonna be able to watch it. I can't even think about that. I gotta put that out of my head. I can't think about that. So what my oh my people need to I already read that. So yeah, there's a lot going on with all of this stuff, but I guess I guess my point is two things. They didn't get Nick's, in my opinion. They did not get Nick's sentence wrong. They got Gypsy's sentence wrong. Um, and I don't think that you should believe everything you see on the internet. And remember that the creators that are crying about her making money are also making money off of her crime through her. So there's that. But what was this? What my oh my said, Ivy Rose called the whole family trash in a video the other day, including Mia and the son. I exploded. Wow, really? I like Mia. I really genuinely like Mia. I think she seems, what is she, 23, I believe. She was very grounded. I like that her TikTok doesn't really have anything to do with Gypsy. She puts her own content out about her own life, kind of like she's just kept going with her own stuff. And I really like Mia a lot. And calling Dylan trash, which is Christy and Ken's other child, their son, he's not even in the public spotlight. So I don't know why she would do that. But yeah. So I think I'm gonna end it here, guys. I'm gonna end it here. It's almost been an hour. So I don't know if I'm gonna take the other one down. Maybe I'll leave it up and just put in the comments that I really apologize for the bad audio and the blurriness, bad Wi-Fi. We really do have bad Wi-Fi here. So, but this went really good with the StreamYard on my phone. I've just never done that before. But please watch out for me. I might even go live later. I'm in a mood for live streams, but I really want to start covering Wade Wilson. I don't know if you guys have been watching that or what, but I really want to cover his jailhouse phone calls because good gracious, they are one for the books. One for the books. Jess, you're 100% correct. Gypsy Rose should be in prison for life. Absolutely. Life without parole. I think that's what she should have gotten. New case recently. Tried to hire a hitman to kill her husband, Sarah Boone. Oh, suitcase Sarah. I'm not gonna do anything on Sue's case, Sarah. I've been keeping up with her case. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki says, lovely chat to be in. I'm glad you enjoyed it here. I hope you come back. And subscribe. But yeah, suitcase Sarah Boone, complete whack job. She really got me with the advertisement for a new lawyer. What bothers me is I laugh a lot at this woman, and I feel like the victim in that case, it is not given the attention because she's such a nutcase that she gets all the attention. So I think that's kind of sad. So I'm not going to cover her, but it's Nikki King watching from Australia. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Um, we love our down under people here. So, Nikki, quickly, this is way off topic, but what in the world with you guys is Olympic breakdancer? Yes, I've been laughing with the gifs and the memes about this Olympic breakdancer for days. I watch it every time I watch it, I laugh harder and harder. I cannot help it. So, Colleen, sorry I had to help my mom for a bit. That's okay, Colleen. I hope she's okay. Justice Jane, all for fame and money. Yep, that is really what it's about. What my, I love your chats. You're wholesome, and you can tell you're a wonderful person. Thumbs up. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That makes me feel really good. I really do appreciate that. But yeah, we're over an hour now, guys. So I might start working on my Wade Wilson. I was actually going to do that yesterday, and I didn't. I didn't have anything set up for it, but I don't know quite where to start. But I think I'm going to go and figure that out. Um, I start work next week, so I want to start getting those lives out. I want to start getting those videos out. Vibes. I like the picture quality on this one. Yeah, it's kind of why I redid it, Vibes. Because I rewatched that live stream and saw how bad. It was just really, really bad Wi-Fi. We have really horrendous Wi-Fi out here, so I was all blurry. The audio was cutting in and out. And I was like, oh man, I should probably just do this again. So here I am doing it again. Um, Nikki King, send us some Tim Tams. Yeah, the Tim Tams are always good, right? Um, all right, if you guys wouldn't mind just hitting the like button on the way out for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And please look out for my Wade Wilson live stream. I would love to have all of you guys there. If you're not familiar with the case, I'll just do a brief of what he did. But the jailhouse calls are really what we're going to get into because holy crap. I mean, we got Kiosk Kristen, we got Mila, we got Joey. We got all these jailhouse phone calls, and they are nuts. Wade Wilson is the epitome of jail talk. Okay. So, all right. Oh, you're pretty, Jess. Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are so kind. You guys are making me smile today. Thank you so much. Um, thank you, Jess. Good night, everyone from Maine. Good night. See you later. Yeah, you're on the East Coast. I'm in Wyoming, so it's only 4:30 here for me. So I guess it's 6:30 there for you. So okay, you have a good night. Thank you, Justice Jane, for putting that in the chat. I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys next time or possibly later tonight. We'll see how it goes. Bye for now. Well, if I could stop it. There you go.